Installer Spotlight series where we share positive stories of women in the industry and get their insights into how we can encourage more women into similar roles. I'm your host, Jess Shanahan, and I'm chatting with the women behind the Sparks and Hip magazines. Celia Matthews is a qualified plumber and the founder of SNG Publishing, which offers world-class resources and events for learners in construction, engineering and hairdressing. Zoë Tanner joined SNG Publishing in 2018 as Managing Director, with a focus on nurturing a confident workforce through top-tier resources to help them tackle the challenges of tomorrow. Welcome to both of you. Celia, if we could start with you, can you give us a bit of an idea of how you got started in the industry?
Yeah, certainly. It was a leaky tap. It was around, I suppose, 2003, 2004. I was working in London for a big publishing company, and I got home at night and there was a dripping tap sort of going on all the time. I thought, right, call a plumber. So I called a plumber who came around, had a look at it and did the whole kind of, that's going to be a very expensive sort of look, which you learn at college, by the way, that whole kind of. And so he basically said that if he unpacked the tap, it would blow, it would explode. And so he wanted to give me a quote for a new bathroom. So because he thought, well, I know. So I kind of thought, I didn't know what a washer was back then. So I said, thanks, but no, thank you. He still charged me a call out fee. So paid that and then off he went. And it just made me curious, like, why is the whole bathroom going to explode if, from a leaky tap? So I called around some colleges and thought, well, I'd like to kind of understand some basic plumbing. And I asked about maybe a DIY course or weekend sort of course, something like that. And they were very interested in the fact that I was female and wanted me to do the full qualification. And I wasn't quite sure about that, but I had a look at the syllabus and I found it really interesting. I thought, wow, this looks really, really interesting. And so I ended up doing my level 2 in plumbing, my level 3 in heating and ventilation. I did many of the short courses, energy efficiency for domestic heating, sanitation, water regs. I got my invented ticket. So I did sort of like the full shebang, if you like. And so when I was actually at college, I mean, one of the things I should say is that this was never an option at school. So it wasn't anything that I even considered. So I was quite surprised when the college lecturers were saying, oh, we want female plumbers in the industry, because it wasn't anything. I was quite sort of, oh, okay. So I found it very exciting. I enjoyed the course. And while I was at college, spending time for 2 years sort of with the level 2 students and the level 3 students, learning the plumbing trade, I really enjoyed it, but I did notice a real sort of lack of support for the students in terms of sort of how to get work in the industry, and I'd say a lack of confidence as well. So and I think that's the system. It's not, I mean, the lecturers were fantastic. The majority of lecturers were brilliant. So I just wasn't sure if maybe this was something that I could potentially maybe help with. And so SNG was born.
So that's fantastic. Yeah, no, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. So Zoe, what about you? What led you to join SNG Publishing?
Well, I've never been on the tools. I've had quite a varied career. I started off in telecoms, had many years in financial services, moved into the construction sector very briefly in recruitment, and then ended up working in a digital marketing agency that specialised in building relationships with heating engineers, plumbers and electricians. And actually, that's how I met Celia. We kept bumping into each other at trade shows, having a bit of a laugh. And then I actually came in to do a pitch for you, because we were trying to, my employer at the time was wanting to work with more of an apprentice-based audience. And I came in, did a pitch for Celia, and as it turned out, she pinched me into SNG.
To be fair, the thing was, I like, I don't really remember much of the pitch, and I don't mean that in a negative, but I was just
it wasn't that good.
No, but I was so blown away, and I just thought, in the early days, I just thought, you need to come and work for me. You have the same vision.
Yeah.
And I think, it was just, I offered you a job pretty closely after that, didn't I?
Yeah, I think because we've met a couple of times at the trade shows, and I didn't know about Hip and Sparks, and Celia told me her story that she's just told you. I was like, wow, that's so interesting. And actually, I completely believe in the importance of supporting, encouraging and inspiring the next generation. And I was exactly the same. No one ever told me, oh, have you thought about becoming a plumber or an electrician? It was, I had my careers advice, and they told me I had to be a history teacher. And I was thinking, pardon, what? And it was like, oh, you like to talk, you're good with dates and numbers.
You do like to talk.
I know. But it's that thing of, why are we typecasting people at 15, 16 when actually the whole career journey, it's a verb, not a noun? And because we were so united in our perspective of giving more opportunities, building a community, and really showing all the wonderful opportunities that are available within the sectors, I think it just became just a very, very natural partnership where we've built upon your wonderful, wonderful foundations to say, let's see what we can do in terms of growing SNG.
Yeah.
So do you think that things have changed a little bit in recent years in terms of how people are being presented these different career opportunities in school? Because I was the same. I think I was told I should be a journalist. So, well, that was pretty spot on. But it was never an option, I think, for any of the girls I was at school with, for them to go into plumbing or become an electrician or an engineer. That was never even on anyone's radar. So do you think that's changed now?
Yes, I think it has changed. That
I think it's changing. I think something that we always discuss a lot is the careers advice is obviously being given by predominantly teachers who have all experienced a very similar path. So, they've gone to school, they've done their A-levels, they've all gone to university because they have to have a degree to become a teacher. So what are people going to talk most confidently about? The pathway that they know about. So there are some fantastic education professionals out there that are really starting to say, have you thought about an apprenticeship? Have you thought about this opportunity? And the language is changing and the opportunities are definitely starting to open up. But I would say there's still a lot of work to be done.
It's certainly moved forward massively compared to like when I went to college, being the only female, doing that course was quite isolating and uncomfortable at times. And I suppose I didn't feel supported. Not that it was anybody's job to support me in a way, but I did feel a little bit isolated. And I think now there is, like with female skills competitions, and it's not just what we're doing. We see this across like even other industries, like even the accountancy industry. I got an email the other day that they've got their own, they're doing their own female only competition just to sort of bridge the skills gap, not to segregate, but to sort of, to sort of show that the opportunity is there. So, yeah. Does that answer your...
Yes, it absolutely does. So do you feel like there are now more women entering kind of this apprenticeship pathway to come into these industries? Have you seen kind of more women coming through? Obviously, you're interacting a lot with engineers and apprentices and learners through the competitions. But do you think the industry as a whole is seeing more women coming into these professions?
Definitely, which obviously is fantastic with the looming skills gap. We're in the college network every single academic term of the year, and actually that's the reason why we launched Female Skills for both Hip and Spark. because we'd sit down with the lecturers and we're always very interested to say what's going on, what's going well, what are the challenges, how can we help? And the big thing that they were always saying is about, okay, you know, student numbers, the industry, etc., etc. But then they were really starting to say, but we are getting a lot more women coming into the courses. I was like, that's fantastic. Where are they? Why aren't they entering Learner of the Year, which is our mixed gender competition? And we had the same reply in every area of the country. They don't want to be the only female in the competition. They are already isolated enough at college to actually then go forward into a regional heat and then a national competition. They don't want to do that. And I was like, okay, so what is it? And, you know, they were like, they need confidence. And so I thought, okay, we already have the mixed gender competition. There is absolutely no isolating or just kind of giving preference to one gender here. This is very much a platform for the females to take part in female skills, to develop their skills, to build their confidence, to become part of a community, and then take the next step to go into our central competition.
Well, we've got evidence of this as well, haven't we?
We have, absolutely. So last year, our winner and runner-up of Sparks Female Skills are both in the final of Sparks Learner of the Year. And we also have a female in HIP Learner of the Year this year as well, which is, it's fantastic. We've had over double the number of female participants in HIP and Sparks Learner of the Year 2024. And we'd actually given ourselves a target to kind of get to that point into like a 2 to 3 year window. So for it to have happened in 12 months, I think it's a massive credit to the colleges to really be showing the opportunities that are available and giving that added level of support to get the best people into the industry, regardless of gender.
Yeah, absolutely. That's brilliant. So you've obviously talked a little bit about the challenges that are facing women in this regard, but what would you say are the other big challenges that women are kind of facing going into these industries or even working in these industries?
Well, I suppose one of the challenges that I faced, but this is going back almost 20 years when I did qualification, was kind of physical strength, which is not really a problem these days, because back then, bending 22 mil pipe, for example, I found it very difficult using the pipe bender. And my lecturer said, well, why don't you put one end of the pipe bender on the ground, put the other, you know, and put your whole body weight on it. But actually I lifted off the floor. So it didn't make the impact I needed. But I wasn't the only one. I mean, there were plenty of lads as well that struggled with 22 mil pipe. But I mean, now you can use vices. You can actually, I've actually now got an extension that I can add on to my pipe bender, which gives the leverage. So there aren't really those sorts of problems, which I think used to potentially be a challenge. And also even lifting kind of, I mean, it's hard graft, it is hard work, but for guys and girls, you know, for both genders. So I think like even lifting radiators, like a radiator can be 50 kilos. Like even a guy can't lift a 50 kilos. Well, he's not supposed to, because the maximum is about 20. So I don't think those challenges exist so more now. I think that there are a lot more opportunities for women now than there ever were. So there is still the stereotype, but I think that we are moving away from that. I mean, lecturers are so supportive. I mean, incredibly supportive of the next generation coming through, both male and female. So it doesn't seem to be so much of a challenge now.
I suppose accessibility to some degree and perception.
I think I think perception's the biggest. I think it's the stereotype, the perception.
And that's when, if we can change that perception and you know, change the accessibility, and you know, we know that there are a number of women retraining in second careers coming into the trades, because actually they then have more flexibility to have the work-life balance that they desire, so that they can have the family support that they want, which is actually incredibly empowering. But also those those steps forward actually means it becomes far more accessible to anybody, and then, it doesn't have to be that it's just a benefit for the women in the industry. It's a benefit for all. And we make those much larger changes. Also, I know, Celia's just said there, touching upon technology, everything that's happening with the future energy transition, it's a very, very exciting time to be going into the plumbing or the electrical industry. And there's a lot that can be done without maybe some of the physical challenges. And also as well, I suppose the skills gap. We're all very aware that 1 in 5 engineers are due to retire by 2030, which means we've got a massively aging demographic. And we have to really demonstrate the fact that these very rewarding jobs exist with such a massive scope of career potential.
Yeah, absolutely. So how would you say that, education and training and resources like Sparks and HIP, what kind of role do all of those things play in showcasing that these roles are out there and that it's important for women and other, other minority groups who may not have otherwise come into this industry, seeing that it was very male dominated at one point? What role do you think those resources have to play in bridging that skills gap?
I suppose we have almost like a multi-channel strategy that we apply for HIP and Sparks and for all of our channels, basically. Obviously, we want to provide technical support, course support, hints and tips. We also have an array of digital resources available to support courses. But we also very much focus on soft skills, business skills, and really forming a sense of community. I think if anybody has seen our social media, we have an awful lot of fun doing what we do. We want to make the industry welcoming. We're very lucky that we have some wonderful, wonderful manufacturers that support, and our judges that are part of the manufacturers who are completely open to bringing their 30, 40 years worth of experience to the forefront, but then just having some fun with it, not taking themselves too seriously, and just showing what a fantastic landscape is available. And that is how we consider we're changing perceptions, that come and be a part of this. It's loads of fun and it's actually hugely rewarding.
No, I agree. And I think especially with our events, the confidence that we see in these young people, like in the Learner of the Year, female skills, across the board. I mean, that was one of the main reasons for starting the business in the first place, instilling confidence and helping with the soft skills and other areas that aren't covered in the course. But just every year, it's just very rewarding to be able to see sort of students go in and they're very nervous about the competition, and then they, develop so much confidence when they see kind of that how much they've been able to achieve. So that's a really big thing.
And then role modelling as well, as well as the judges that are part of the manufacturers, we have a number of career professionals come and support on female skills. We have Becky Bates and Amy the Sparky and a number of other people that come along and talk to the girls, explain about their careers, their pathway. Yeah, and also previous people that have taken part in the competition, coming back to support year on year for both Learner of the Year and female skills, and really just formulating that community, which is a lovely thing to be part of.
And I think it's camaraderie as well, the way, especially with female skills, some of the female learners haven't met another female plumber, so that's just a really, really good thing that just builds that confidence and so forth, and they make lifelong friendships as well, so which is good.
Absolutely.
So how important would you say events like the Sparks and HIP female skills competition is to encouraging more women into the industry, as well as nurturing those who are already kind of on this journey?
Okay.
I think it's hugely important.
Yes.
Skills competitions are vital to anyone wanting to build on their skills, work on their confidence, and be part of a community. We love watching the journey when somebody turns up in the morning looking incredibly nervous, and they slowly start to relax during the day, and they walk out looking and feeling like a different person. With female skills in particular, something that really blindsided me was the number of women that took part that told us they have never met another female tradesperson.
Wow.
And don't get me wrong, we fully appreciated there would be some. We did not expect it to be the majority of the competitors. And
also the lecturers, sorry to interject, but the lecturers, I think you mentioned earlier as well, Zoe, that a number of the lecturers said that if there had not been the female competition, their students wouldn't have entered, their female student wouldn't have entered. There's just no way. And now the same female student that wasn't going to enter is now in the final of Learner of the Year. So she had the confidence from entering female skills that she's now entered the Learner of the Year competition and won her region. So you can just see how it's just so empowering. It's so empowering, and for the lads as well. Like, you know, years ago, like I mentioned earlier, that the Apprentice of the Year has been going since I think 2008. And I wanted a competition that was going to boost confidence, and for a competition to reflect the kind of real life scenarios, because there were competitions that exist, but they were very much pipe work. And there weren't really the appliances and things like that involved, so we were able to get manufacturers involved as well, and it's been phenomenal. And every year it's so rewarding for us every
100%.
year, because we see the confidence built across like the guys and the girls. It's fantastic,
and it's such an experience. Our judges, we've got Jerry Whiteley from the CIPHE as our head judge, Glenn Schofield from Albers. We've had Tony Oakley Tuck from Wiesman this year, alongside with female skills. Becky Bates was there, and it's great because it is a sense of community where we're bringing a lot of experience to the table, but also a lot of fun and role models, and just that opportunity to meet these big brands that genuinely want to stand together to support the future of the industry.
Yeah, 100%.
That's fantastic. I just want to move on to kind of one final question, and get an answer from each of you. What advice would you give to a woman looking to work in the industry?
Do it. like from my experience, when I got my qualification, and just putting in your own heating system. Like, I had a 4-story house that I was living in, and just pulling out all the microbore pipe, putting in all like my own radiators that I chose, and just doing the whole thing, putting my own underfloor heating in. It's just so satisfying, and just to be able to help people as well is so rewarding. Like, one of my mum's friends, her plumber had put a toilet in for her and had put the toilet flush the wrong way round, and then he'd gone off on holiday, so she was fairly elderly, and she couldn't flush the toilet, so I went round, and it was like a 5-minute job, and then I got lemon drizzle cake. I mean,
can't go wrong.
Winning at life, yeah. But it's so satisfying. And then I ended up doing a plastering course as well, because I just found, why not? Why can't women, have a go at these trades?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So,
I think for me, I would say find your passion, follow something that you thoroughly enjoy doing, and find very satisfying and rewarding. I'd find your tribe, build your community, so that you've got so you've got that support, but also to enjoy the journey and not put too much pressure on yourself, because I know that's something that I've been guilty of over the years. I felt like I need to be here by X age or at this point, and actually when I relaxed, had that confidence and thought, you know what, I'm going to enjoy the journey, that's when everything really fell into place for me. So, and I think we can be guilty as women for putting way too much pressure on ourselves and forgetting that we can really, really enjoy this.
True. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. Zoe, Celia, thank you so much for your time. To everyone who's watching, thank you for joining us. And I hope you'll be able to come along to the Installer Show on the 27th of June, where we'll be speaking to all of our wonderful Spotlight guests in a special panel session. Hope to see you there.